Hey guys, welcome to Most of It, where I cover most things that I find interesting. Today, we'll be continuing my series covering the history of each primarch. This video is about the fourth primarch, Perturabo of the Iron Warriors Legion. So without further ado, let's get into this. Perturabo, as with his other primarch brothers, crash landed on a planet as a baby. Now his planet was called Olympia, a rugged mountainous world ruled by a tyrannical leader. Perturabo spent his first few years of life among the rural regions of the planet, becoming a famed wanderer known for slaying legendary beasts. One day, he was found climbing the mountains below the city-state of Locus. The guards who found him, seeing he was no normal child, brought him before a man known as the Demikos, or the Tyrant of Locus. He, being intrigued by the young boy, took him in and treated him as family. The young Perturabo was very skilled in things such as architecture, political debate, and combat, leading him to forging many alliances between Locus and surrounding city-states. Perturabo, however, knowing he was not of this world, was disgusted by the rebellious Olympians and rather believed in the cold logic of science. Perturabo never trusted the Olympians, refusing to return all affection he received from his new father, who, despite spending much time with the young boy, never received any in return. Perturabo often shunned his siblings as well, save his sister Caliphany, who he cared about deeply. He, rather than taking the name of Olympian war heroes, as was the custom among nobility on this planet, rather took an ancient title for those with prodigious abilities. He quickly became commander of many battles on the planet, favoring siege warfare over all other forms, also overseeing the construction of many siege engines once thought impossible upon this planet. Despite the strength he displayed outwardly, in secret he suffered many visions of a great maelstrom, telling none of this, fearing it was a sign of weakness. When the emperor arrived upon Olympia, Perturabo immediately submitted himself to the will and mercy of his father, assisting him in ousting his foster father. Upon taking command of his legion, the Iron Warriors, he found them wanting, punishing them with decimation. By lottery, 1 in every 10 of his sons were selected to be beaten to death by his brothers. This would be Perturabo's command style toward his sons his whole life, brutal and unforgiving, eventually causing his sons to use the battle cry, "Iron within, iron without." Perturabo soon established himself as a capable and efficient, yet cold and bitter commander, soon growing envious of his brother Rogel Dorn, Primarch of the Imperial Fists, who had the honor of establishing the defenses of Terra. The other Primarchs were also distant to Perturabo, seeing him as what he was, a bitter yet capable war machine. The Iron Warriors Legion soon established themselves as the masters of siege warfare in the Great Crusade. Shortly before the beginning of the Horus Heresy, Perturabo learned that his homeworld was in a state of rebellion. He demanded the citizens enact decimations or face extermination and enslavement. Most refused, and he began purging many cities upon the surface of the planet, sparing no one. While storming the palace of Lokos, he came across his sister, who, after an argument in which she blamed the Primarch for the fate which had befallen their world, he strangled to death, severing any connection he had to his homeworld. As he watched the planet burn from aboard his ship, the Lord of Iron realized what he had done, also believing that the Emperor would never forgive his actions. Horus, knowing his brother had the most raw scientific and technological knowledge of all the Primarchs, was quick to commend him on his decisive actions, earning an oath of loyalty from the Lord of Iron. The Iron Warriors Legion was greatly influential throughout the Horus Heresy, with it generally being agreed upon that the heresy would have gotten nowhere without the Iron Lord and his legion. After the War Master revealed his treachery unto the Imperium, Perturabo was approached by Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children, who offered him infinite power, telling him of a weapon known as the Angel Exterminatus hidden within the Eye of Terror. The Lord of Iron agreed to find this weapon with his brother, who, after leading him into the Eye of Terror, revealed his true motives, seeking to use Perturabo's life force to fuel his ascension to demonhood. As he was weakened by his brother's ritual, he managed to gather enough strength to attack Fulgrim, killing his mortal body just as his spirit achieved apotheosis, vanishing into the warp, with a weakened Perturabo swearing vengeance against his once brother. When the Solar War began, the Iron Warriors were tasked with taking the outer planets of the solar system, and were not permitted to lead the siege upon the defenses of Terra itself, embittering their Primarch greatly. Horus met with Perturabo in person, who, after seeing the War Master, realized him to now be a mere pawn of the forces of chaos. The Lord of Iron had studied much of the warp and swore to one day use it to gain the power of a god. During the siege of Terra, Perturabo grew tired of his chaos-empowered brothers, and upon seeing his brother Rogel Dorn take the battlefield, refused to be goaded into battle, and instead promised that only after he had destroyed the walls of the Imperial Palace would he kill his brother. As the siege continued, Horus began losing touch with the Materium, leaving all command to Perturabo, who, upon realizing he was essentially conducting the greatest siege in history, had a great increase in his mood. As the tide of the siege began to turn, with it becoming clear that the Imperial Fist would in fact hold the line, the Lord of Iron abandoned the war entirely, calling back his troops and leaving Terra, dooming the traitor's cause. After the death of the War Master, Perturabo went about laying the foundations for the destruction of the Imperial Fists and their Primarch, constructing a trap known as the Eternal Fortress, essentially flipping the strengths of the Imperial Fists, who preferred entrenched warfare, and forcing them to become the siege masters. Upon sending a beacon to Rogel Dorn, the Primarch swore he would dig the Lord of Iron out of his hole and bring him to Terra in an iron cage. Falling for the trap the Lord of Iron had laid for them, the Imperial Fist lost many troops, with relief eventually coming from the Ultramarines and their Primarch Rabute Gilliman, causing the Iron Warriors to retreat from their fortress, with Perturabo having accomplished his goal, breaking Rogel Dorn's spirit. Following this victory, the Iron Warriors sailed into the Eye of Terror, taking a demon world for themselves and becoming inactive for many years. Perturabo has since appeared, smiting many Forge Worlds with sickness and assisting Abaddon's Black Crusades. The Primarch, who was once staunchly against the use of Warpcraft, is now believed to be a demon prince of Chaos Undivided, after seeking healing from the wound Fulgrim inflicted upon him many years ago. So that's where the story sits for now. Perturabo's story is one of bitterness and a refusal to love and be loved. Throughout his whole life, he sought recognition for his accomplishments, and when it was given to him, refused it, instead preferring the cold isolation of pure strength. Strength alone, however, makes one inflexible, causing those around you to be broken against you, or alternatively, causing you to break when bending is required. His refusal to love his sons caused a deep resentment from them, causing him to be alone even while surrounded by his own blood. The bitterness Perturabo felt was also of his own making, refusing to be happy for others, instead seeking to be better than them in tasks he should never have taken up, eventually culminating in the murdering of his foster sister, the last person who ever truly loved him. If you want to learn more about the Lord of Iron and his Legion, I would recommend reading the books Angel Exterminatus and Perturabo, Hammer of Olympia. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and comment down below what you'd like to see me cover next, whether Warhammer related or not. And with that said, I'll see y'all later.